So we're going to get started, guys. It's 9 o'clock. We like to start on time around here. So we've got Robert Brand joining us again today. We appreciate it every time you join us, Robert. And thankful for Lisa for connecting us with him. And he's going to get started today talking with some more about how to stay out of court, which is really important because I've been there and it's not a lot of fun.
Not much fun, and staying out of jail is a little worse. But I don't cover that topic. So thank you, and hello everybody.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not go there. Yeah. So glad to be back. And
There you
one
go.
challenge I have, because I do this all the time, is I know that those that attended last time don't want to hear exactly the same material. Although sometimes a broker owner will say, cover what you did last time. I said, but it's the same thing. And they said, no, it's really good information. So cover it. So I kind of do a mixture of some review, some new, and I've got, I don't know, 4 hours of material. So I kind of pick and choose. So big topic, number one source only in California. Disclosure issues are the number one source of litigation. And I have 85% there. In some areas, it's higher, some a little lower, but most lawsuits, unlike any other state, against residential agents involve disclosure issues. So it's a big topic. I will email to Amy some seminar notes. I update them every month or two, so there'll be a few changes. I do not charge for what I do to a real estate firm. I don't sell anything, so I'm very graciously sponsored by service providers. And here are some logos. So let me start with Lisa, who's really the driving force behind this. So Lisa, unmute and tell us what you want to.
Well, I want to tell you that I need to send you a new picture.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay.
um,
Okay.
because yeah. Anyway, good morning, everyone. So happy to be here this morning. Love doing these seminars with Bob and just providing all this wonderful, wonderful information. I've been working with Bob for years and years. And I don't really have anything new to update you guys on other than, keep an eye out for those selling in fire zone classes that we provide from our VP, Laurel Hausch. You should be getting emails. If you're not, let me know. They are a great class. They're about 90 minutes long, but it is all about the fire hardening and the defensible space and the AB38 and the ever-changing stuff that goes on there. And as far as the home warranty front, the changes we've gone through in the last few years have really culminated in the fact that this was probably the best summer, because summer is kind of a drag for me because I'm usually just stuck behind my computer working on claims. Claims are going really well. Doesn't mean we don't have the ones that go sideways. We do. But as far as the 13 years I've been with Fidelity, this has been the best summer as far as claims resolutions. And so I'm really proud of that. So if you're not using Fidelity Home Warranty, give me a try. And if you are, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Can
Lisa.
I add something? Can I do a little plug for Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I right. So I just want to say I've had lots of calls lately asking about we just closed, the water heater's not working, we just closed, the dishwasher stopped working. And I just want to say, Lisa, Fidelity National Home Warranty, pay for the seller's plan during the escrow period. Even if you pay for it yourself, it's like $35 for like a 30-day escrow and it helps those items get covered. I promise your buyers will be happy. Your sellers will be happy because when the buyer calls up saying my dishwasher stopped working, you just be like, file the home warranty claim, and that stuff gets covered after the close of escrow instead of them saying that it was pre-existing. Right, Lisa?
How
And
does
yeah,
that?
and
How do
I
you
want
add
to
that?
add to that because I now have agents calling me once they get into contract, buyers agents calling me once they get into contract. They're like, hey, I want to put a home warranty in for my buyers, but I also want to add seller's coverage for the remainder of the escrow period because then they've got at least probably a 30-day, maybe a 25-day, sometimes just a 15-day close, but you've got that coverage in place for that amount of time before the close of escrow so that when the new buyers move in, the chances of something being deemed uh, pre-existing are much less because the coverage has been in place. Great, great tip,
Okay.
Amy.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't think he's in the room now, and he can speak up if he is. Craig Iden with Golden State Inspections. They are located in Sacramento, but they cover a huge area. Probably the largest home inspect. I'm sure the largest home inspection company in the areas and the counties that they cover. They have a just a sterling reputation, and Craig does expert witness work and is just knows everything about home inspection and the breadth of the coverage that they provide and that sort of thing. So if I see him come in during the meeting, I will pause for a moment and he can make a pitch. And we do have with us though Virgil, a great company, an amazing company, and the service they provide. And Virgil, take it away, please.
Thank you, Mr. Brand. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for allowing me to join. I'll just take a couple minutes to introduce a service designed to protect clients and your brokerage. Every residential purchase agreement requires buyers and sellers to mediate disputes before going to court. Excuse me. But in reality, most agents don't have a simple way to fulfill that clause, and that's where homeowners risk management comes in. Through our program, when a post-closing issue arises, whether it's a roof leak, a septic system, or any other property dispute, my company steps in to provide professional mediation. And that's a forever benefit. It's a lifetime benefit we provide to your clients. This will keep you out of the middle, protect your relationship with your clients, and most importantly, prevent the issue from escalating into an E&O. Here's what it means for you. Over 99% of disputes never reach your E&O policy when we're involved, or we pay the E&O deductible and your legal defense. You avoid costly deductibles, increase. Your fee is paid through escrow by the buyer or seller, not you or your pay anything. In fact, there's no fee if there is no closing. It's truly a win-win. And when your buyers and sellers have legal questions, don't risk your real estate license. It's part of your team. You're going to bring in a real estate attorney to help close the transaction, remove those legal roadblocks, get buyers and sellers into escrow without expensive legal problems. Please call me. Tom, I'd be happy to come to your next Zoom meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Virgil. Great service. It just is super popular. And I do see that Craig just entered the room, so let me go back to here we are. So Craig, if you probably unmuted, but go ahead if you're not and tell us what you do.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Speak up just a little bit, but we can hear you. Yeah.
Sure. I am Craig Iden with Golden State Inspections. I also own Defender Termite and Pest Management. So we are a one-stop shop. We can do both home inspections, pest inspections. We do commercial properties, mold inspections, mold remediation. We have our own in-house crew, so we can do all the repair work needed on the pest report. We have a pest control division. So we've been in business for 26 years, so we're not going anywhere. We try to be the go-to person for these kind of services, and we've been pretty successful for these number of years. And we hope to bring in some new agents and continue to grow and continue satisfying people in the Sacramento Bay Area, Central Valley regions. And please give us a call. Email me if you have any questions at all. I'd love to be able to answer anything for you.
Great. Thank you very much. And if they have a chat area, you can put your number in there. And if not, I'll get it to them when I send out the notes. So thank you very much, Craig. Whoops, let me get bigger here. Did I just lose my PowerPoint? Let's see here.
You're good.
I'm still good. Okay. Let me just do something here. Get that out of the way. Now is it gone?
Yes.
Can you see? It's gone now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what, I've never had that happen before. So here we go. I've only been doing this just 33 years, so I'm still rusty. So let's see now. Can you see a slide that says visual inspection?
Not yet.
Not. Okay, I'll have to share. So let me go back to the main screen and figure out how to share video. Wow, that's something else. Never had that happen. So we have, oh, chat, react, oh, share. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Now let me do this. I'll do this. And hopefully now you can see the visual inspection.
We have all the slides. Oh, there it is.
We're good.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, after that, I'll just say disclose everything. Goodbye. No, I got to stretch it out a little bit. Okay, and some of you that maybe were not in at the beginning, at the first minute or two or whatever, I know I've presented many times for you. There's always new people coming in. It's nice to get a refresher, but you don't want to hear the same thing. So I talk fast since I talk for a living, and I'll do a little review, get into some new things that are kind of current trends and so forth. But anyway, so on the AVID, I have it circled there. It says visual inspection. So a question that arises frequently, I get a lot of these questions, and that is the limited, and it's not a professional home inspection, it's limited, the inspection that an agent does, what are the parameters of it and so forth. Then you go up in the attic, and of course the answer is no. But is the agent's inspection limited just to visual? It would seem like it would be so, since that's what the form says. But no, it's kind of in the courtroom of today, statewide. And by the way, California is the only state that has the litigation issues that we do. There's no other state even comes close. So it's a big deal. We have to, be prepared for it. But it's really kind of translated or understood to mean any sensory perception. So you think of it as a visual inspection, but if the floor is clearly uneven, you really maybe don't see it, can't pick it up visually, but you'd still disclose it, or there's some unusual odor in the home that seems, maybe suspicious. You had mentioned that too. So even though it says sensory, or it says visual, it really goes beyond that. So uneven floors, strong odors, and so forth. So just something to keep in mind. And the only two categories that we cover are defects, things that are clearly wrong, and like a broken window or whatever. That's a simple example. Something that's busted, broken, doesn't work. And then the other category would be red flags. And a red flag is not necessarily an indication of a problem. If you see a stain, let's say this is a family room and there's a stain, this could have happened to a 3 previous owners back, or 2 previous owners back, and they stored white wine in the attic. It has nothing to do with a leaky roof, and a bottle broke or something like that. So we don't really know what's going on. And from our perspective, your perspective, the limitations of the agent's visual inspection, there's no requirement or a hint of one to explain what's going on, just what you observe. And that would just simply be, it's easy to say water stain, but it could be from a rodent. I don't know if it's water, just stain noted. If there was a window right below there, you may say stain noted at ceiling in family room, near window, or something like that. Not big stain, not small, not maybe from this or whatever. Just keep it real basic, and that protects your liability stature, because you really have no idea where this stuff came from and if it's really even a problem at all, and or how the buyer is going to react. There are a lot of challenges. I'll just mention a couple of them. Let's say I'm doing my Avid. I'm almost done. One of my last stops is the living room, and there's nothing I haven't really found anything to say, which is actually good. There's less chance of litigation if in your limited visual inspection you can't find anything to say. That's actually a happy problem to have. But what some agents do, because they feel an obligation to write down something everywhere for every room, which is really not an obligation, they'll just say, oh, well, what am I going to do? A ceiling fan noted. But a ceiling fan is not a defect or a red flag. A ceiling fan is either inventory, or it's just a part of the house that's going to stay with the house. So we don't want to do that. And I'll give you some other things I'll mention some other things we don't want to do. Excuse me. I'm in the master bedroom. looks great. I don't want to say it looks great. It's not advertising. What's going on? A little spider web up in the corner. It doesn't really affect value or desirability. It's too minor. So normally we would not disclose that. So having done this for so long statewide, the best expression I've ever seen, the one that stands up to challenges, even legal challenges, is nothing noted. Not saying there's nothing wrong anywhere in this room because you're not crawling under the bed or whatever. You're not going up in the attic. It's just within the parameters of a real estate licensee in California. In the living room, I looked around and I didn't see anything worthy of disclosure. So that's all it means. And that's probably the best expression I've come across in my time of doing this. But what do you do when you have a home? And let's say it's 3,000 square feet. It's a sizable home. And the homeowners have probably kept good care of it. And you've done your normal, limited, avid type visual inspection. And you can't find anything to say. It's like, you don't want to break a window or anything like that. So what do you do when you can't find anything to say, but you want to, the mode you're in now is you just want to prove that you looked around. You know that you did, but you like to have some record of it. So here in California, um, maybe I'll go from right to left. Most homes have like a cement or concrete driveway, patio. It's really unusual to find a home with these surfaces where the driveway, the patio have no cracks at all. Usually, we would never use the term normal settling crack. That's way outside of our standard of care. But that's probably what they are. And they're not to be worried about. It's hard to find a driveway that has no cracks unless it's really new. So you're always going to be able to say something about that. And I'll mention what to say in a moment. Middle, brick, like depending on what part of the state. Some parts of the state, almost everything's brick, and other places, nothing's brick. But most homes have a chimney, or a lot of them do, and that's usually brick. And then on the left, stucco siding, and it's okay to say stucco. That it's not really a brand name the way that we use it, so that's okay. Or wood siding or whatever. But certainly the stucco, that's a hard surface. You're going to see, like you can see there, some hairline cracks. So this is the dilemma where the home is in such pristine condition, you just can't find anything, but you want to just establish that you were really there. But nobody's going to make an issue of it, so it's not going to mess up the deal. So something like some, and some's a great word, it just means more than one. Better that some than say there are 4 cracks on the patio because maybe some patio furniture is hiding something or whatever, and you've got a real picky buyer and they're going to freak out over it. Some cracks noted, and just fill in the blanks. Exterior siding, backyard patio. And if you're wondering where to write that down, there's other places, but for anything you want to disclose, if there's a lot of things to write down, a lot of things to disclose, don't forget, kind of near the end of the form, there is these other observed or known conditions not specified above. So you can always write something there. And if there's a lot to say, you can go into addendums, but that doesn't really happen very often. Okay, stating the obvious, this is another little review. I've changed a couple things, and I'll get into some things we haven't covered. Let's say this is your listing on the right there. Or let me make, I could say more about it if you're representing the buyer. So you have a buyer looking at this property. They've even mentioned they want the property because their kids will go to that school. So it's really convenient. But anybody who lives in a home this close to a school, let's say it's a high school or something, it's going to affect their life. There's going to be a gridlock in the morning and afternoon, drop off, pick up, and all that. I mean, there are places where you can't get out of your driveway for like an hour. It's just really crowded. And then weekend activities, sports, the bells ringing or whatever they ring now for class change. I'm dating myself there. And then you're also going to have probably at lunchtime kids hanging on the fence or laying in the grass. Now, the issue we have is we want to make a disclosure, but you can't name everything. You can't have a laundry list because one, you don't have to, and secondly, you're going to miss something. So there's a way to disclose these things. Real briefly, in a way that everything is covered. I'll get to that in just a second. I think I have one more photo here. Let's see. Obviously, LA, La Cienega, and Interstate 10. 10 goes from like downtown, well, goes from Phoenix, I think, but 10 goes through downtown all the way to Santa Monica, the ocean. So it's a big freeway, and can't get much closer to a freeway than this house. And so anybody that moves here, they're going to have noise. And a freeway like this is never quiet. I mean, it's 24 hours a day. You got the on-ramp there, and there are going to be people hanging around and so forth. And so the first mistake we can make is this is so obvious, its proximity to a freeway, that I don't want to make a disclosure because it's like an insult to the buyer. I mean, can't they see that? But I'll tell you the defense they use with the help of their attorney is, I fell in love with the house. You know, almost have violins playing in the background. I fell in love with the house. We just blanked everything out. We're really tired from looking at homes. We fell in love with this one. And believe it or not, we just didn't even notice there was a freeway next to it. And that gets bought off by juries, especially when they're sobbing or something like that. One more picture, and then I'll get to the strategy that works well. This is a shopping center near where I live. I've been involved with it on legal things. There are 5 buildings. There's a Target on the far left and a big giant supermarket on the far right. And you have these really nice, kind of like custom homes up above, or more expensive because they really have a nice view there. And the ones that are behind Target, the complaints have been, well, from a buyer, we knew there was a shopping center there. You look over the back fence and you can see it, but we know there are deliveries, but my gosh, they never stop. And places like Target or maybe Home Depot, big stores, they often have deliveries 24 hours a day. And in this case, Target does 24 hours a day, every day of the year. And so we want to make a disclosure. First of all, some think you don't have to make a disclosure because it's so obvious. They look over the fence and there's a shopping center there. We still have to make one. A defense that a buyer can use that really works well is we were so tired from looking at so many homes. We just fell in love with this property and just kind of blanked. We were so fatigued, we blanked everything else out and didn't even notice there was, a store behind our house or something like that. So we'll get to some answers. So no matter how obvious something is, if it's close to the home and it will affect in some way living in that home, what people go through every day to live in it, their experiences. I don't mean bad things necessarily. Yeah, we do need to disclose things that seem to be overtly obvious. So when we're disclosing something near a property, may I suggest that we disclose what is there, never details of what might bother the buyers about what's there, because every buyer's different and we can leave things out. So we want to make it a broad disclosure that encompasses anything and everything that a buyer may complain about after moving in. So freeway, and it doesn't have to be worded exactly this way, but maybe close. There's a freeway near the house. Anything they complain about after moving in about the proximity of the freeway, which is, 20 feet away or something, is in that disclosure. It's noisy. Well, there's a freeway near the house. Vagrant people or whatever they're called, are hanging around the on-ramp. That's because there's a freeway near the house. Everything's answered in it because it's a broad disclosure. School, gridlock, can't get out of our driveway, kids hanging around, kids hanging on the fence, weekend activities, cheerleader practice, football. That's because a school is close to this property. Much better to go that way. A lot of agents, they're very organized and are trying to do a good job, and they like to make a list, but no list, especially in the hands of an opposing attorney, is ever long enough. So it's better to do a broad reference to what's going on or what's there, not make a list of specifics. So something like this, and these words are not divinely inspired. You can come up with a lot of them, but something like this would work pretty well. Shopping centers located behind this property. Whatever they complain about, the delivery guys at 2 a.m., that's because there's a shopping center behind your property and horns honking, whatever it is, loud trucks. it's all answered there. Better way to go. I don't know if I had this last year. I don't, or last time. I don't think I did, but this is very brief, so it won't take long. This is a vacant lot, and you can see like a house behind it. There's actually like about 20 houses like that. It's a development, but you just can't see them because of the all the trees in the way. So buyers from out of state move into this home. Just had a couple of disclosures, a broken window and whatever, nothing, no big deal. On the first day in, they were unloading their boxes and all that. And about 2 or 3 in the morning, they heard a really, really loud noise, and they couldn't identify the noise. It's like, what in the world is this? Well, it just happens to be the hot air balloon airport for this area, and been there forever. And they do, I think I have another picture of another balloon. Yeah, they do, I think, 3 balloons a day. It takes an hour and a half, 2 hours for all of them to go up. And it's very, very noisy. They're just yelling at each other, not because anybody's mad. It's just a very loud thing. And so anybody that lives around there, that's part of their life. And they need to know about it before they move in. The upper bracket here, the buyer should never be surprised, is a wonderful key to disclosure strategies. The only buyers that sue are surprised buyers, whether they should be surprised or not. They were not expecting something. They've never lived there before. They don't know anything about it. And they say, we wish somebody would have told us that, hot air balloons are in our backyard every day. So we don't want the buyer to be surprised. And when representing the seller, a good thing to ask is, and you're going to know some of this because it's like your farm area or something. Is there anything about this property that the neighbors are going to tell the buyers? Sometimes sellers are thinking, as they should, about their own property, like, what should I disclose? Is there something that we're just living with or overlooking? But this is another good question, kind of a focused question, not on the fly. Your buyers are going to move in. They're going to meet the neighbors, whether the neighbors like you or not. Is there anything that they're going to tell the buyers that might be problematic? All we have to do, if you can think of something, is disclose it. We're not going to say it has to be fixed or removed, just we have to disclose it so they are aware of it. So, okay. Another example, some neighborhoods, not every city, but some communities have what they call like Christmas tree lane. I think some do it for Halloween, where there's, homes in maybe on a cul-de-sac or something, whatever, and everybody just goes overboard. I don't mean, excuse me, I don't mean that in a bad way, but they really are enthusiastic about the directions. Now, some neighborhoods, they have a homeowners association and they pay for this. Others don't, but the buyers have a lot of pressure placed on them that they weren't even expecting when they move in. Hey, everybody really goes to town on these decorations. We sure hope you will too, or whatever. And one of the essences of disclosure is the buyers just never should be surprised. Surprise buyers sue. We want the buyer to say, oh yes, I was informed of that as part of the disclosures I received, and what we're going to do about it is this or that. We just don't want, even if they don't participate in it for religious reasons or other reasons, they just need to know in advance. So again, only surprise buyers sue. All right. Oh, this is this is quick and brief. This is a property a buyer moved into, and the next door neighbor to like that direction really didn't get along with them, whatever. And he noticed that whenever rain was predicted, the homeowner of this home would put this tarp up over the garage. And he thought, and he knew that this guy was going to move out in the next few months. So he took a picture of it and kind of forgot about it. And then buyers move in, it rains, and there's rain falling in the garage. So the neighbor, ever so helpful neighbor, came over and said, let me show you this picture. And they look and they go, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Well, the people your sellers, the people that used to live here, they had a problem with a leak in the garage, and so they covered it up whenever rain was predicted and all that. So keep in mind, the only buyers that ever sue are buyers that are surprised. That's a good thing to keep in mind. I know it's very simple. Buyers that are not surprised don't litigate, because when they hear something that could be problematic, they know they've already been told that. And they decided, well, like let's say there's a commercial airport nearby. I don't mean like, San Francisco or LA, but just a small airport. And there's some noise from it. And it really doesn't bother them. They just simply need to know in advance. And then it's okay. Lisa, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, you have a question in the chat.
Oh, I do. Okay. Are you able just to read it to me? Because I
Yeah.
don't want to mess the screen
Yeah.
up. Yeah, go ahead.
As far as stating the obvious, do we state items like nail holes or wear and tear items like paint coming off the door frames, etc.?
Yeah, in those two examples, nail holes, it's better, believe it or not, to say, you could even say small holes in the wall. You don't want to, unless you see nails there, because it's, somebody's pounding in something to hang a picture on and they missed or wrong place. You want to make the disclosure in as few words as you can. So something even at that level, and if there's a lot of that around the house, you can say some nail holes noted in various portions of the house, and you don't have to name every one of them. But yeah, something like that, even though usually just a little bit of spackle will take care of it. What we don't want to have happen, it's good to disclose it, because even though it's not like the subject of a lawsuit, the buyers get upset. They say, well, I don't really like that, and I can, make it look better cosmetically, but I wish they would have told us, and then they think, what else don't we know about this house? And they talk to neighbors and find out if there's any stories. So yeah, something like that would be disclosed. And if,
What
yeah,
about
go
the
ahead.
paint chip
Yeah,
being
and the expression that they used was like flaking off or something. Yeah, yeah,
paint coming off door frames?
yeah. If you see that and it's not, if it's throughout the house, you can, make it more of a plural thing. And I have in the notes I send, I have an example of taking something that appears in several places and kind of cover the whole house, and the best language for that. But peeling paint, it doesn't really affect value or desirability of the home. So it's a really marginal thing. And since I cover the whole state pretty much equally, there are owners, brokers that don't want those things disclosed because they don't affect value or desirability. It's like considered to be too picky. It's a cosmetic thing usually. Sometimes it can indicate water damage or something and the paint's peeling off, but usually not. So it's kind of a 50-50 thing. I think if the home had very, very few things to disclose, I'd probably be persuaded in the direction of making a disclosure, but a low level one, not you'd never want to say peeling paint noted near in the garage near the fire door, the garage door, or whatever, and then make a conclusion like this needs to be checked out or this could indicate water damage. We just make a disclosure about what we observe, not what it could be doing and that sort of thing. Let me look. I see another one. Another question.
I had a
No.
rental with drywood termites that bored through the drywall in holes the size of finish nails.
Drywood. That, yeah. I would never mention termites. I would just say holes. Don't say small holes. Some holes noted, if it's kind of all over the place and in the walls in various parts of the home. And just make it generic. Don't say only in the garage because maybe it's in the laundry room inside the house. Just saying. And in my notes, I have examples of that kind of verbiage where you take something that you want to disclose, but you don't want to make it too specific because maybe it's more generalized. Maybe there are, and by the way, you would never say that damage is from termites, and I don't think the questioner is implying that there. Identification of termites is way outside of our standard of care. we can see damage, and that's a good word too, some damage noted at drywall, near, and wherever it is. Just don't mention dry wood termites. It's just outside of our standard of care. Just some holes noted or something like that. Yeah.
Michelle, did that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. You bet.
Hey, Robert, I have a question along those lines for you.
Yeah.
Let's say that you do see what you believe to be termites present in the house. Would you just disclose that there are bugs present in the house and not like identify what the bugs are, since we're not
Yeah, a
professionals?
good question. Name something you would see that would indicate that to you, that there may be a termite problem, just like holes or something.
Well, I'm saying if you actually saw them in the house, if you could see them coming in and out of the wall or whatever that might be,
Yeah,
you see them on
yeah.
the floors.
That's a good question. With if it's that prolific where actually see them moving around, I know this sounds kind of odd, but it would work better than, we don't want to mention the word termites because that is clearly outside of our standard of care. There may be a bug that looks like a termite or something like that, but just say some. I'd rather skip the bug part and just say some holes noted near a fire door to garage or something, wherever it is, some holes in the wall, and not give a reason why the holes are there or why you suspect them to be there. Even the termite people have to be careful how they word that, because it could be a variety of things. And some of them are not, it's not from termites, it's from another, like wood destroying pest or something. So what I'll do for you is in the notes I'll send over, I will add an example using your question. I won't mention you, but using your question, and come up with a more refined disclosure. Okay, good question. All right. And then feel free to keep going. And I've got about 20 minutes here. And by the way, if you ever have a disclosure question and there's no cost at all to this, I just have Lisa buy me lunch. No, I'm kidding. There, um, anytime, 7 days a week, and call me anytime. Even if I don't answer it, I usually do. You can ask me questions, and I will give you a written response. I like to copy in management so they know what I'm talking about, and that's always available, and that there's no cost. Keep in mind, just a basic, the only buyers that ever sue are buyers that are surprised or caught off guard. So when you're looking, now obviously you disclose the crack that you see there, but when you're trying to figure out, should I disclose this or not? This you would know on the right. But there's some things that aren't quite so obvious. A good question to ask is, if I moved in here and I didn't know that was there, would I be just caught off guard? Not mad, just surprised. Only, generally speaking, the only buyers that sue are buyers they're surprised. It's like, if I had known about this, I would have negotiated differently, or I wouldn't have bought the home, or I just wish somebody would have given me the courtesy of letting me know. So anyway, just a good little tip there. Let me speed up here. So should you take photos during your visual inspection? By the way, advertising, absolutely. It's another topic, sort of yes all day long and all that sort of thing. But what about during your visual inspection? And I'll just give you my opinion. I talk about this topic, I think, more than anybody in California, but there are some variations in interpretation. Not a big fan of taking photos. Advertising, yes, and that sort of thing, but not as part of the limited like Avid or TDS forms. And that's because you're making a decision on what needs to be photographed, meaning you think it may be more of a serious issue, not just, it could be cosmetic, but you can't even make that distinction. Since photography is not required by the real estate agent as part of their limited visual inspection, that's an important word. It's a visual inspection, not a good idea. Or other things like some agents have, or people in general, but some agents have a gadget you put up against a wall, maybe in the kitchen, and you can listen on this little speaker thing. It can hear water dripping or something. We don't want to get into any kind of equipment like that. So not a big fan of taking photos during the visual inspection. And some agents when they're walking around doing the Avid, they will take photos, and the basic issue is they're not required. And if something's not required, it's not good. It's a good idea not to do it. Real quick comment on rough disclosure to a final disclosure. Doesn't cost anything. You don't have to download an app, and it takes like a half a minute. I'm in the kitchen, and I'm looking at the refrigerator and the wall to the left, and I see a couple of stains like this. Now, if it was just me only, and I bought a home, and I would be saying to myself, or before buying the home, I'd say that kind of looks like mold, and it's in the kitchen. And there's water pipes in the walls, and I gotta have to have this checked out. But when it comes to disclosure, here's what not to do is to get too definitive. So let's clean this up. Two small black mold stains noted. Just get rid of. Fortunately, we're not adding anything to make it longer. We're making it shorter. Get rid of the number, small, never colors, and no way ever mold. And just say stains noted. Now, we've all heard the stories, again, of somebody moves into a home, and maybe there's something like this, maybe not. But somehow a water problem is discovered in the kitchen. And I know of several examples where they have to move out, and they go to I was going to say the Holiday Inn, but maybe the Marriott, a little bit better, for like a month or two. And it's amazing. It takes a long time and the guys, they look like they're from another planet, descend on the kitchen. It takes a long time. So stains noted, not water stains, not big stains, not mold stains, just stains noted. And that's all we really should say. And it should provide adequate coverage for us. I'm not talking about insurance coverage, but litigation prevention coverage that you saw that, you thought it was worthy of disclosure. Now it's up to the buyers to make a demand, or up to the sellers to fix, but it's out of your hands now. You made the disclosure. Didn't cover this last time. I'll make this relatively brief. It may surprise you. By the way, some of you, a lot of agents, recommend a home inspection, which is always a good idea to do. A type of language that is sometimes used is I recommend that my clients obtain the services of a licensed home inspector. And believe it or not, there are no licensed home inspectors in the state of California. Something like 45 states license them. I mean, we're one of a handful that don't. But in California, there are no licensed home inspectors. Our state does not license them, unlike almost every other state. So if you want to clarify who you like to refer out, one way to do it is to look for professional certifications. And I'm not going to I'll have this in the notes, but I'm going to make this brief. Probably the hardest organizations to get approved by, and it's just a civil approval, it's not a law or anything. Far left, far right. PREA, California Real Estate Association, ASHI, American Society of Home Inspectors. It is really hard to get, credentialed or certified by them, but it's not any kind of state authorization. There's also InterNACHI, International Association Certified Home Inspectors. They have tests too and exams. It's great to look for that. But anyway, just keep in mind, the main problem is never write down, I recommend you get a licensed home inspector. Just there aren't any. And that will backfire in court. Recommend you get a professional home inspector, a competent home inspector, just not licensed. Then on E&O insurance, it's really important that home inspectors have E&O. And just one fact about E&O is if the inspector's there, and maybe you've never met him before, or her, most are guys, but some women do, and just say, could I have a cert or certificate of your E&O insurance? They should be able to provide that to you, assuming they want to, and they would want to, within 5 minutes. If they have an office, just text the office. Could you please text message or email or whatever you're doing to this agent? Here's their email address with a copy of our E&O coverage. It should be they should have it, definitely, and it should be readily available. A lot of home inspectors carry proof of it with them. It's in a brochure and it's got their policy number or something they just handed over. So proof of E&O insurance should be immediately available. So to wrap this up, state of California does not license home inspectors, so look for professional certifications, and only the client should choose a home inspector. It's different than recommending like a home warranty company or a other kind of a service. This is where you want them to make the choice. You can say, here is a list of 20 home inspectors, but you always have to say, preferably write down, this is not a complete list, especially if they're coming from out of state and they just don't know anybody. So this is very important. Never use the term licensed home inspector. You can say certified, but not licensed. All right. Okay, qualified disclosures. I don't think I covered this last time. So you're involved with one of these houses here, and it's pretty obvious. There's a golf course there. Believe it or not, we still have to make a disclosure. And you think, well, how do they miss it? Juries are very sympathetic to buyers, especially when they're sobbing. The buyer can say, we finally found our dream home. We looked at 40 other homes. We finally found one. I didn't even notice what was outside. I just liked the house, fell in love with it, and we decided to buy it. And then and believe it, this sounds hard to believe, but I've heard it many times, whether it's a freeway nearby or something nice like a golf course. We were so focused on buying the right house, didn't even notice what was around it. So anybody living here, they have a nice view, and if they golf, that's nice. But there are going to be what we call them, errant golf balls that are going to be, hitting the property. So here is, we'll just trim this up here. Let's say even the sellers say, every week we get 1 or 2 golf balls. Well, okay, that's good to know, but we don't want to write that down. It's too specific. So instead of 1 or 2 golf balls occasionally hit the house, but maybe they're not just hitting the house, they're hitting the car in the driveway or whatever. Golf balls occasionally hit this property. So we don't want to get in. My main point here is don't get into specifics because you can be taken to court over those. You said 2 or 3, and we're getting 5 or 6 or something like that. But when you have a word like occasionally, it gets the message across. It is a good disclosure, but it doesn't set you up for a fall later. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Here's a different topic here, interesting story, and we have about 10 more minutes here, so I'll talk fast. This is a property where the buyer specifically said, we husband and wife buyers, we both work out of our home, so we want a nice quiet area, preferably at the end of a cul-de-sac like this home happens to be. And they were from out of state, didn't know anything about it. Then this was on the market, and this is the primary home their agent showed them, and that's the one that they bought. Well, after they moved in fact, look at this photo here and look to the left. You see a hedge there. They didn't happen to look over the hedge. Now, here's another, there you see the whole view there. On the other side of that is a freeway. Now, this is a different hedge. Right beyond this hedge, depending, I don't know if the house is right there, but it's in that neighborhood, is the hedge that you saw. But this is another one. So you got 2 of them, but they're not really great sound barriers. And this is Interstate 5, and it's busy, all the time. And the buyers have specifically stated we would like maybe a cul-de-sac, a quiet area, and this is the home that they bought. And so we really, and we should be aware if we're doing a deal there, what's around there, we should make a disclosure. So let's just look at this one first. Traffic noise noted from adjacent freeway during morning and afternoon rush hour periods. It started out okay, but then we got specific, and maybe they're real sensitive to this because they've never been near a freeway. So probably want to get rid of the during morning and afternoon and just say traffic noise noted from adjacent freeway. We don't have to say it's good, it's bad. We just have to disclose that that's there. Now, what these buyers probably would have done is, where's the freeway? They're from out of state. And if they stood there, they'd be able to hear it. But they needed some help in even knowing it was there. All they saw was a big hedge, and they had told their agent, we'd like to have, some greenery and stuff to block out whatever. They just didn't know that Interstate 5 was on the other side. So got to be careful about stuff like that. So qualified disclosures. Um, I know this may not need to be said, but believe it or not, there's litigation, usually small claims court, but not always on this. And that is caution your buyers before showing them a property. You're pulling up, let's say they're in your car, you pull up to the curb, but you're still in the car. It's a good idea to say, well, let me just get the picture. A lot of people now, and maybe these sellers, have all these gadgets, cameras, audio recording, and anything you say inside that house, maybe even in the backyard, they will be able to listen to. Because sometimes prospective buyers criticize things like, couldn't they do better housekeeping? Or what poor taste in furniture. Now you think, well, that's got nothing to do with the deal. It just gets the sellers mad at the people that are going to buy their home. And excuse me, one way to avoid litigation is to try to keep everybody happy. So just say before we get out of the car, don't know, or maybe you do know, this house may have security cameras, that are mic'd up. And so if you have anything to say about the home that might be considered offensive to the homeowners, the sellers, please don't say it. Don't even whisper it. Wait and make a note of it and wait till we're in my car and we're driving away or something like that. There's actually been some, I won't say huge cases, but medium-sized cases just over this. And because the buyers move in, they may not like the house for some other reason, but that's the reason they used or the made up reason they use. So it's important to be careful about that. Let me look. We have about 8 more minutes to go. Let me find something well, I'll just show you this. This is more interesting. This is because I happen to be involved in it. This is a condo development. I'll try to keep where it is secret here. But it's near where I live, and I would drive by it, and I could see that really bad things were happening. This is during construction. So it was like condemned, so to speak, and all fenced off, barbed wire. I actually did a sort of pretend like I was James Bond and snuck in, and I took some pictures. I took all these photos. Just look at that. This is under construction, not far from occupancy, and yet that's pretty bad. And that's amazing. Some tarp noted. Uh, anyway, so I left, and never didn't return until it was fixed up. But let me get through the pictures. This is what it looks like now. So major soil sinks were identified in the initial construction. They did it the right way. They got a expensive attorney, from LA or New York or something, and got it all done and so forth. But there wasn't necessarily the best disclosure about it. So it would if you know of a history to a property and you were there and you saw it or you took a picture, it doesn't have to be this dramatic. But if you're involved in a transaction, somebody's going to buy a property that they know the history of it. So I won't read all this because it's a disclaimer saying, there was a big problem here. But I'll put that in the notes so that you'll be able to look at it. Let me see. Oh, this is a good point here. I might end with this if we're almost out of time here. I might make this the last thing to mention. And again, you can call me anytime at all. I actually have another seminar after this, but you can 7 days a week contact me, email me, whatever, and I'd be glad to help. In the Avid, there is the or TDS, there's the neighborhood. This is what sellers have to disclose, anything on those lists of the numbered lists. And one of them is neighborhood noise problem or other nuisance. And this happened to be, well, there you can see it right there on the form, number 11, either yes or no. Now, in this case, there was a German Shepherd next door to the home for sale. And that dog was out 24 hours a day and just seemed to never, ever stop barking. So you think, well, the seller is the one filling this out. So whether something's a nuisance or not depends on whether the seller thinks it's a nuisance. Now, there was a case in I think it was Central California, kind of getting close to Arizona or Nevada, where there was a small airport nearby, or a new airport, and all of a sudden they had a flight school or two, and these airplanes are flying over pretty low all the time, and it was a new noise issue. So let me back it up here. Notice it says, are you, the seller, aware of any of the following? Basically, it's not asking if these things are problems. It's asking whether or not the sellers perceive them as a problem. It's all up to the sellers. Do you think that there's a noise problem or other nuisance? But only if the sellers think so. So this was a case where the sellers had a next door had this German Shepherd that never stopped barking. Now the sellers could say that dog is driving us crazy, which I think I would say. But these folks said, we used to have a German Shepherd. It died last year. We really miss it. And we love at 2 a.m, laying in bed, listening to it bark. It reminds us of this wonderful dog we had. And this actually went to court. They were sobbing on the stand. They were very believable. I think they were telling the truth myself. And it wasn't a nuisance to them. So we just have to be aware that we just don't want to depend on the seller's perception or nuisance or even a neighbor. It's a different thing than what we might think. If you think it's a nuisance, if you're aware of it, and something like a barking dog, if it's barking all the time, and that's your farm area, or you've done other deals there, or even you've been active in this deal, and you hear the dog, that would be a disclosure falling to the agent as well. But whether or not the seller needs to disclose it all depends on whether or not, in their opinion, it's a nuisance. It would be to most people, but not to everybody. So never depend on your seller's perception of nuisance. You have the listing. They're not going to disclose it. You encourage them to maybe, and they say, oh, it doesn't bother us. You know that it will bother most buyers. So it's good to get a disclosure in there. Let me back down here. We did the building permits last time. This is just a good thing back to home inspectors, because they're such a part of the deal now. I call them, I just made up this term, Uncle Bill home inspections. It's like the buyer's friend, relative, uncle, grandfather, somebody, and his name is Bill, and he's had a lot of businesses. He did deck, snow removal, landscaping, drywall, and now he's doing home inspections. And he's a handy guy, and they have him do the inspection rather than spending a few $100, on
Wanna walk?
uh,
We're gonna go walk. I'm gonna put your shoes on.
Raquel, I think you need to mute. There you go. And have a nice walk. Anyway, so to influence your client to order a professional home inspection, keeping in mind they're not regulated in California. Are you ready? I know this sounds terrible. Would you want to sue your Uncle Bill? Oh no, we wouldn't. We love him. He's a family friend, whatever. Well, then don't have him do have him check it out after you've moved in, after you've had a professional home inspection, negotiate the deal or use that any way you can to get the best price that you can. And then it's up to you whether Uncle Bill shows up and all that. So that's they're surprised by it, but that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, it is time to, I don't know if I showed this. I'm not going to do anything about it, but this is kind of near where I live. This is a fence house. And about 3 times a year, cars crash into it. You have no idea why. I mean, if you looked at it, where are they coming from? Well, there's a traffic signal nearby, and people that have never driven this road take it too wide. Usually it's one car, and they just hit the fence. Well, that's just sold, and that was a disclosure issue. So I want to thank Amy for the invite. Appreciate it. Thank you to my sponsors. Lisa with Fidelity National Home Warranty and their partner Disclosure Source for NHD, Craig Golden State, Virgil Legal Services of America, and I have to go because I have another event here, and you can call me. I'll get some notes to Amy later on today. You can call me anytime, email me anytime, no charge. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.